If there was a world inside of your computer, how would it sound like? The answer to that question came in 2010 and it couldn't have been more fitting. This is a musical analysis of the Tron films. Tron Legacy could have sounded just like every other movie ever made. Heck, it could have sounded like the original Tron movie from the 80s. But director Joseph Kosinski wanted something that has never been done before. He contacted legendary electronic duo Daft Punk and the robots agreed to do the score. Time has treated Tron Legacy well. Back when it came out, it wasn't a full-on flop, but surely stayed behind Disney's expectations and critics were just lukewarm about it. But with time passing, more and more realized just how ahead of its time the movie was. With the average of Hollywood CGI quality dropping lower and lower, people started to appreciate the phenomenal VFX work of Tron Legacy. With more and more legacy sequels coming out and tarnishing their legacy, people started to appreciate the sincere follow-up story to the 1982 film. But one thing that has always been held in very high regard about Tron Legacy from the start is the soundtrack. Daft Punk popped off like crazy for no reason. So when rumors about Tron 3 being in the works came to be, the central question that arose was, who is going to be responsible for the music this time? Any hope of Daft Punk returning was annihilated the moment Daft Punk disbanded in 2021. Discussions started to boil. Who could it be? Could it be Skrillex? Could it be Deadmau5? Could it be M83? Theories were spun until August 2024, D23 Disney Entertainment Showcase. The cast, including Jeff Bridges, Jared Leto and Greta Lee, show up on stage and they revealed that the search for a composer has been concluded. Cut to 2025, Tron Ares releases. I'm chilling in theater with my friends. The film begins, the opening credits play, and these airwaves hit my eardrums. My immediate thoughts were, they are trying way too hard. Despite my first impressions, the Tron Ares soundtrack had some interesting choices in store down the lane. So now we're done with setup, let's get into the analysis and comparison of the OST for Tron Ares and Tron Legacy. Where better to start than with the opening titles. Legacy kicks off with some narration of Kevin Flynn in the front and a groovy bass in the back.
The grid.
Flynn drops an awesome one-liner before the orchestral elements kick in.
I got in.
It immediately establishes the combination of electronic elements, the bass line in this case, and traditional movie score instruments like strings and brass, but they have a synthesized edge to them. Ares, on the other hand, blasts you from the get-go with a very dominant synth beat. No subtle introduction of different elements that blend together, slowly build up and crescendo. The main chords hit you like a ton of bricks. This leads me to why I felt like the Ares soundtrack feels like it tries too hard. From the very start, we get to hear a kick and snare beat. I need to explain this. Daft Punk proved major balls in 2010 when they incorporated classic kick and snare beats they usually use for standalone music into a movie soundtrack. They knew it was unfamiliar to the average viewer, so they made it extra special. Of the 22 cues in the score, just 3 tracks have this dance-like beat. End of the line. The rest and the end titles. Nine Inch Nails for Tron Ares took that special thing and overused it so much it lost its impact. Of 23 pieces, at least 9 of them have kick snare. But away from that, I want to focus on something Ares did really well, and that is the escape sequence from Dillinger's Grid. It probably helps that this is probably the coolest looking scene in the movie, but the underlying music does as much heavy lifting as the visuals. The stakes are very high with both Eve's and Ares' life on the line, but the song doesn't get overwhelmingly loud or bombastic. But still, it perfectly captures the vibe of quiet intensity, silent danger. To make it even better, vocals join in the mix. It's almost like in a Sonic game, and you know, when the vocals get added in a Sonic game, shit really goes down. A similar principle was used a little earlier in the light cycle chase scene, with these outerworldly motorcycles causing chaos in town, brilliantly captured from a bird's perspective, scored with a calm track, almost too calm. Just bordering but not crossing into underselling the tension. Good job of balance here. One of my favorite tracks in Legacy was always The Son of Flynn. What makes it sound appealing is its use of arpeggios, chords broken into their component notes that run the chord up and down. It makes the piece sound deceptively simple, like it's super easy to produce. Here, look at me doing it inside FL Studio. But it's more complicated than just drawing a MIDI chord and pressing Alt-A. The ARP itself is modified and given a unique rhythm, and it's not the sole element. It's the foundation everything is built around. Without the bass, the strings and the brass, the ARP wouldn't be as effective. Listening back to the Ares soundtrack in isolation, I hardly came across any themes or leitmotifs. I mean, I found one with the melody of the intro coming back in the final fight, but that's about it. Maybe that's down to the fact that unlike Daft Punk before them, Nine Inch Nails did not consult veteran film composers like John Powell or Hans Zimmer, but upon doing more research I found out that Trent and Atticus from Nine Inch Nails already had plenty of experience with scoring movies, which makes the choice to neglect leitmotifs even more baffling to me. Especially because Legacy had really strong themes, for example that one that is introduced at the title card, then reappears not just once but at multiple points throughout the film. Sadly, it didn't carry over from one movie to the other, but I can understand that due to the completely new cast of characters, and the grid entered are not the same as those in Legacy. Now onto some symbolism. Tron Legacy is all about humanity. It takes place inside a digital world, but puts emphasis on how important the real world is. Take Cora for example. In a world of programs, she's the most human, even sacrificing herself at one point. So when she and Sam talk about the sun, we don't hear any synths. We just hear strings.
What's it like?
The sun?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Not MIDI in a DAW, real instruments played by humans, an orchestra from London to be exact. Tron Ares on the other side is all about permanence and impermanence. Throughout the movie, the main characters work towards permanently transporting things from the grid into reality, with the permanence code. But as Flynn in his Jesus form says in the climax, permanence code might be a misleading name. Impermanence code would be better, because programs inside of the grid are permanent. As long as they aren't deleted, they will continue their directive. But the moment they are taken to the real world, even with permanence code, now they are subjected to time. The oranges from the orange tree materialized in the beginning will rot, and Ares himself will age and die like any other human. This is reflected in Ares' taste in music. He is into 80s music like I Just Can't Get Enough by Depeche Mode. A period of music that felt like it would last forever, but it came to an end. It was not permanent. Gotta say, Tron Ares was better than I thought, both the soundtrack and the movie as a whole. Maybe it failed because it was faced with unfair expectations to live up to one of the best looking, best sounding movies ever made. Tron Legacy is still an absolute classic, top 3 best looking movies ever, soundtrack by 2 of the greatest musicians to ever release music. It blows my mind because every time I go back to revisit a scene or a song from the film, my appreciation grows even further. And damn it, as much as I want to say something about the 1980s original Tron, I just can't find anything interesting to say. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Have you noticed anything I missed? Let me know in the comments. You've been watching WW. The best things.